Hey, welcome back to my channel. I was tagged by Carly Gallagher here on YouTuber. Hey, welcome back to my channel. I was tagged by Carly Gallagher, who's a beauty YouTuber, to do the first times tag. And when I first saw this, I thought, why would anyone want to hear about that? I'm sure some people would. But it's not like that at all. It is completely innocent. It is basically a list of questions asking for first times that you have done certain things, i.e. first kiss, first YouTube video, etc, etc. There are a few versions to this video, but this is the version that Carly did, so I am going to replicate what she answered. There are 26 questions. Prepare yourself for a long video. Grab a snack, a hot drink, a glass of wine, whatever you would like, and enjoy. First tweet. You know what? This could be interesting. I'm gonna look right now because I can't remember. Is there any quick way of getting to your last tweet? I've got 1,311 to scroll through. My first ever tweet was, treating my mum this Mother's Day. Hashtag best child ever. That's very juicy. First YouTube video. This was actually a get ready with me video. I had planned to do a full-on tutorial, but when I turned the camera on, I was so terrified I didn't know what to say. And that video is about 20 minutes long. I'll leave it down below if you really want to travel back in time a bit. First person you subscribed to on YouTube. I remember this so well. It was Jacqueline Hill. I discovered her whilst I was in work, but I just remember being fascinated by her. First Facebook profile picture. Well, this is going to be very cringy, but here we go. Okay, it's me lying on my bed in a very seductive position with very short hair, and the flash on the camera takes over the majority of the photo. I used to live in that dress. I loved it so much. It's too small now. Sad times. That's embarrassing. Question number 5. Do you still talk to your first love? No. What was your first alcoholic drink? This is so funny because I remember drinking underage at a friend's house for the first time, and we got pretty drunk off WKDs, the blue ones. I can't remember the flavour. What was the flavour? Comment down below if you can remember the flavour of those WKDs. I'd kind of like to try one again because I want to relive that moment. It was either blue WKD or a Smirnoff Ice was my first alcoholic drink. It's really smoky in here. Like, I think I need to blow the candle out. Calm down. What was your first job? This was a pathetic excuse for a first job, but I will count it as one because it felt like a job, except it wasn't paid and I hated it. I basically did the Bronze Duke of Edinburgh Award, and with that award came work experience, and it was only an hour a week, but that hour that I was in the local library working for seemed like a eternity. It was the longest hour ever. I don't read. I have no interest in books, and it was so boring. And at this time as well, I was terrified of telephones. I didn't want to answer any telephones. I didn't want to be involved with telephones. They terrified me, and they would often force me to sit by the phone, and that's basically all that I would do for that hour, and I just hated it. What was your first car? It was a Vauxhall Corsa, and I have a Mini now, but I much preferred the Corsa, but my stupid little sister wrote it off. She was fine, but she managed to flip the car onto its side because she was crossing lanes of traffic, and a car just came and hit her side on, and because that car braked so hard, the bonnet slammed down to the concrete, and then when he took his foot off the brake, it flipped our car over because it actually went under the car and then it flipped. Was that a good explanation? I have no idea. Who is the first person to text you today? My friend Kim. We're just trying to arrange a good night out, to be honest. Who is the first person you thought of this morning? My mum, because We blitzed the whole spare room and my room this morning. Basically, since moving out from uni, I just dumped all of my stuff into the spare room and it's been there looking like a hoarder's room for a while. So today we blitzed it all and cleaned everything up. And now I feel like I have my life back in control. And we both overslept basically, and that's why I thought I woke up and thought, oh sugar, mum's gonna kill me, I've overslept, but then she was still asleep as well, so it didn't matter. Who was your first grade teacher? We don't have first grade over here, we have something called reception, which is like year 1. And my school was so small at primary schools, we had years 1 and 2 together, or reception and year 2 together in the same room. And there was this teacher called Mrs. Walker. She was my teacher and all the boys loved her because she used to just stroll in. She was like manicured. She had beautiful long straight hair, really short mini skirts with no tights and heels on every day, and like a little blouse. And when she was sat at the front of the class, we would all sit on the floor in front of her. We'd all have to cross our legs and do this thing and not talk. She would normally read to us and she would sit there with her legs wide open. So the boys were just concentrating on what was up her skirt, not to what she was reading us basically, which is quite funny now looking back, but she was a good teacher. Where did you first go on your first aeroplane ride? We used to go to Jersey and France as a family every single year, all the time, and every time we went the weather was horrendous. I just remember it being windy and rainy and horrible. It's so smoky in here now, I'm going to have to open a window. I think I'm going to have to blow the candle out, but I don't want to ruin the background of the video. This is dilemmas. So where did you go? Yes, we always went to Jersey and France as a family, forced there. I absolutely hated it. I have horrific memories of France every time I go. It's horrible weather. I don't enjoy it for that reason. Not to sound ungrateful, but that was the first aeroplane ride I remember, and not in a good way. Who was your first best friend and do you still talk? Yes! Oh my gosh, Emily. Me and Emily have known each other since we were like 2. We went to playgroup together, which is like preschool. And we are still best friends now. We see each other like multiple times a week. She actually did a video with me once. She's the only person to have ever done a video with me. And what did we do? How well do we know each other challenge. I'll leave that down below. That was a really fun video. So yes, we still talk. We will not ever stop talking. And we've only ever had one argument, which is pretty amazing for 20 years, my God. Where was your first sleepover? I remember having like sleepovers in primary school. The first one I remember, not a great story, was at my friend in primary school, and I went round to her house. Her mum was, I don't really want to say, her mum was, she had problems. She was an alcoholic, a heavy smoker, and I just remember that smell walking in of just like smoke and whiskey, and it was horrible. And I just remember being stuck inside that house and that really horrible smell. Yeah. And then as we got older, it tended to be like we'd go around to people's houses and it would just be full of like horror stories and all those sorts of things that you do when you're little. What was the first thing you did this morning? I woke up, panicked, like I said, thought, sugar, mum's gonna be killing me because I'm meant to be sorting out the spare room. But then she was asleep, so I was relieved. And then I just went on my phone for a little bit and made myself a cup of tea. What was the first concert you went to? Oh my gosh, it was Steps. Do you remember Steps? Steps were amazing. Them and Spice Girls were like 90s down to an absolute T for me. I loved Steps so much, and we went to see them at the MEN Arena in Manchester, and it was so funny. We arrived and you know how you've got the tiered seats, you've got the floor seating and standing area, that sort of thing. We were told, we sort of directed up these stairs, and we were on the very top tier, right at the back, and we were the last row of seats, so we literally couldn't be further away if we tried. And it was so funny, my mum had packed binoculars and we were so glad that she did, because the whole way through Steps I was literally like and we had to pass them around and share them because we only had one set. But I still remember that concert being flipping brilliant. My sister fell asleep during the song Tragedy, which, as you know, is the best step song. It's the most well known. She fell asleep, can't believe that. First broken bone, I have never broken a bone. First piercing, my ears when I was 13, finally persuaded my mum to let me get them done, and she spent ages doing her research, and she thought, no, we're not going to Claire's Accessories. There's been terrible stories, horror stories of ear piercings going wrong in Claire's. So she spent ages doing her research, and she found this salon that was meant to be amazing, and it was like double the price of Claire's, and we went there, and that was my birthday treat. But they pierced this ear so low down. I've contemplated getting it redone ever since. It's literally, if I wore hoops, this ear would have split. I have to wear studs because it's so low down. It looks a bit silly. So after all that research, didn't really pay off. First foreign country you went to? France. First movie you remember seeing? Oh my gosh, in the cinema I remember seeing Barney the Dinosaur, the movie. That was the best thing ever. Oh my gosh, the songs. I really wish I could remember the songs. We dragged our parents, that me and Sarah, my sister, and they hated us for that. And my dad still reminds me to this day that we dragged him there to watch Barney the Dinosaur. But we were only about 4. Don't know what all the fuss is about really. I thought it was great. When was your first detention? It was high school because we didn't have detentions in primary school, but it was one of those class detentions. I don't ever remember being in a detention by myself for something I did. I just remember being in a detention and feeling very angry towards 1 or 2 people that made us be in that detention. Who was your first roommate? Oh, me and my best buddy Jamie met in halls in Manchester during my first year of uni, and we're still best buddies now. We were sharing with other people, but they were very antisocial and didn't really hang out with us much, so it just felt like it was me and Jamie really, and then we lived with each other the following year as well. If you had one wish, what would it be? It would have to be at this point something to do with money. Is that bad? I'd wish to have money and then I'd give loads of it away to charities and stuff, because I wouldn't want to just have a selfish wish, because that's just selfish. What was your first sport you were involved in? I have never done sport really. Ballet, does that count as a sport? If that's the only thing I can remember. My mum forced us to do that when we were younger. What is the first thing you do when you get home? Oh my gosh, this is repeat every single day. I go upstairs, take my shoes off, put my slippers on, wrap a huge cardigan around me, get a glass of wine, and that's it. I feel like an oversized cardigan and slippers are all you need in life to be happy. It's a true fact. Plus makeup. Who was your first kiss? Oh my gosh, I remember I was about 14 and I went on a blind date. I'd met this guy on MSN, who remembers that, oh my god, and it was dodgy really, because although we'd been talking loads, he never had a picture of himself, and we were arranging to meet, and it was sort of those silly relationships like, oh yeah, we really like each other, we have to meet up sort of thing. It was like typical school crush type thing, but I'd never seen him. Looking back, that was really, really bad, but we met up regardless. I did take a friend with me, and he brought his friend with him, so it was like a double date in the end. I remember being terrified. It was like 10 minutes before meeting him, and I was like, oh my gosh, he's gonna be an old man, I'm gonna die. But it was absolutely fine. We had a really, he was good looking. We went to the cinema, we sat on the back row, shared popcorn, had a first kiss. I just remember his breath being so minty, and that's it really. So that was the first times tag. Thank you so much for watching. I'll leave the people that I tagged down below, and it will also be on my blog as well, so make sure you go and check those out. Give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed watching it, and I'll see you again next Sunday. Bye. There's gonna be a fire here soon.